Hello and welcome to Daily Current Affairs by Ekam IAS. Today is 23rd September 2019 and the topics we are going to discuss today is Pacesetter Fund, Quad, Gravitational Forces, Tobacco, Side Pocketing, Current Affairs Capsule will deal a small topic, then Map Aided Program we are continuing with the Tiger Reserves in India and we'll discuss one previous year question also. Okay, so coming to the first topic, Pacesetter Fund, why this is in news? Because this comes under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So, this ministry it awarded grants to the awardees of the second round of Pacesetter Fund program. So, what is it? It is basically constituted by India and USA. It was constituted in 2015. So, this is a joint fund. What it do? It provide early stage grant funding to accelerate commercialization of innovative off-grid clean energy products, system and business model. Basically a fund to promote renewable energy. Okay, so the main function or the purpose of the fund is to improve the viability of the off-grid renewable energy businesses that sell small scale clean energy systems to the companies and also to the individuals. So, they can actually do it without access to the grid connected power or with that they won't be limited with any other factors. So, they can easily get access to these things off grid. Okay, there may not be a power grid involved. Okay, so the grant decisions it is made by a steering committee. So, steering committees will have representatives from both the government of India and United States, and they will be advised by a executive committee. So, executive committee will have governmental and non-governmental people who are experts, okay, in this field. They are also selected from both countries. So, there is a binational forum called as Indo-US Science and Technology Forum, that is IUSSTF. It is based in New Delhi. So, India is the administrator of fund. Okay. And what are all the main decisions in the grant making decisions under consideration? One thing is innovation. So, they will prioritize the innovative technologies, business models and programs. And there is another thing called as early stage funding, that is also under decision making process. What is early stage funding? It is basically a thing focused on accelerating commercialization of innovation off grid. Okay, so they are pushing for off-grid clean energy solutions. That is early stage funding, and there is also fund for innovation. Okay, so in this particular thing, you can actually take a note of what is Pacesetter Fund, which all countries are involved, what is it aiming to, and what is the major mechanism under it. That's all you have to know. It is a prelims topic. You don't have to know the things in depth. Even if a question come about a bilateral relation or India's role in promoting clean energy in the world, you can quote this name. Okay. Other than that, it is a prelims topic, so you can concentrate in that way. The next topic is Quad. So, the Quad, basically 4 countries are involved in Quad, that is India, US, Japan and Australia. So, the foreign ministers of all these countries, they have scheduled a meeting on the lines of UNGA meeting that is happening in New York. So, Quad is basically a regional coalition. As I told you, it involves all these 4 countries. So, they are mainly made for this converging vision and values of promoting peace and prosperity in the region. So, in the interconnected region, and they'll also exchange their visions and exchange their practices in order to develop this security in the region. So, the quadrilateral mechanism, it will work on agreeing to increase the possibilities of trade, connectivity, security in the region. So, this is actually seen as a counter to China's One Belt, One Road initiative. So, what are all the aims of Quad? The main aim is to promote free, open, prosperous, inclusive Indo-Pacific region. So, Indo-Pacific region is a main region of concern because all these 4 countries lie in the Indo-Pacific region. Then, addressing the common challenges of terrorism and proliferation linkages that is impacting the region. That is another thing. Then that will enhance connectivity. between the two oceans. Okay, and it will also promote free trade and also defense cooperation. So in future, we can expect many military exercises also in this region, because this particular region is having a link to China as well. So China is also having a common interest in the region. So we can expect that too in the future. So how is it counter to China? So the concept of this quadrilateral cooperation, it is actually linked to the China's emergence as a greater power. So China is having the string of pearls. China is having alliances with the Indian Ocean country and the Pacific Ocean country. And China is also showing this growing unilateralism, which is driving major nations to strive to reduce the regional imbalance by banding together. So these four countries are trying to an extent, stop China's dominance in the region. Okay. The next topic is gravitational waves. So why this is in news? Because the researchers have detected gravitational waves. They have detected this from a black hole which has been newly formed, and that has attained the shape of a ringing pattern of waves that will predict the cosmic body's mass and spin has been detected. So researchers have done this for the first time. They detected this gravitational waves, and it is also a new black hole, and it will actually provide the evidence for Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. So Einstein actually said that a black hole, when it is born from the collision of two massive black holes, should itself ring, okay, producing gravitational waves, which is like similar to a bell that is struck. So the sound wave will be moving like a ring. So ringing pattern or the ringed pattern should be seen when two black holes hit each other and makes a new one. Okay, so actually that was a theory. So this has the new finding have addressed that theory also. So the latest study that has showed that when a black hole is made or is birthed, so it will emit gravitational waves like a bell is struck, and it will fade away when the hole is settling. So initial stage they will show this, and when the hole settles, it will be fading away. So according to the Einstein theory, a black hole should exhibit just three observable property: mass should be there, spin and electric charge. So all other characteristics would be swallowed by a black hole itself. We'll say one-way trapdoor. So a black hole, it will act as a one-way trapdoor. That is how black holes are. So what is a gravitational wave? It is basically disturbances. Okay, where is it disturbance? In the space-time. So gravitational waves are disturbances in the curvature of the space-time, and it is generated by accelerated masses that propagate as waves outward from the source towards the outward position at the speed of light. Okay, that is basically a gravitational wave. And black hole is a region in the space-time that is exhibiting gravitation acceleration so strong that nothing, no particle or even the electromagnetic radiation such as light can escape it. Okay, so that is basically a black hole. So black hole does not emit light by itself, but the matter that it consumes will be a source of light. So most black holes are remnants of large stars that die in the supernova explosion. I've already explained what is supernova explosion in the previous sessions. So basically there are four types of black holes. There are stellar, intermediate, supermassive and miniature black holes. So when we talk about the type of black holes, we have to note one thing, that is Sagittarius A. So a supermassive black hole that is sitting 26,000 light years away from the Earth near the galactic center or the center of the this Milky Way, called as Sagittarius A. It is one of the few black holes where we can actually witness the flow of matter nearby. So Sagittarius A, it has become, hungrier and has been feeding on the nearby matters at a faster rate. Okay, so that is Sagittarius A. The next topic is tobacco. So why this is in news? Because the executive director of the tobacco board has cancelled a US conference aimed at promoting tobacco. So we have not shown solidarity to that project. So this is in the contravention of WHO framework on tobacco control, that is FCTC, and the cigarettes and other tobacco products, that is according to the Act of Prohibition of Advertisement and Regulation of Trade and Commerce Act. So according to two of this act, the tobacco should not be like promoted. So if the Tobacco Board of India, they have cancelled this US conference to promote tobacco. So tobacco, it's like a commercial crop in India. So it occupies the third position in the world with an annual production of around 800 million kgs of tobacco. So there are different types of tobacco like flue-curd, then country tobacco, burley tobacco, BD, rustica, chewing tobacco. So these are all very important. So India stands third in the production of tobacco, and in exports Brazil and USA are leading. Okay, so India produces tobacco a lot, but in case of export it is Brazil and USA that is leading. And you know, China is like the major consumer of tobacco. If we take all the smokers in the world, when we take 3 smokers in the world, one among them will be definitely a Chinese person. Okay, so what is tobacco board? We'll come back to the topic. So what is tobacco board? It is actually a institution made to accomplish its role in actually smooth functioning of farming system of tobacco. So actually it is for fair and remunerative prices to tobacco growers, and promoting the export of tobacco from India, because this is also used in drugs. Okay, so in medicinal purposes also. So they assure, the tobacco board assure the farming and fair and remunerative prices for the tobacco growers. So Government of India under this Tobacco Board Act of 1975 established Tobacco Board. So earlier it was Tobacco Export Promotion Council. Now it is Tobacco Board. Okay. Now the board, it has a headquarter in Andhra Pradesh. There is a district called as Gundur. So it is there. It's located there, and it is planning or aiming to develop the tobacco industry in the country in a pan-India level. So I have mentioned about WHO framework on tobacco control, that is FCTC. So what is it? It is basically an international treaty that is being negotiated in presence of WHO. So this was developed in response to the globalization of the tobacco epidemic, and it is an evidence-based treaty that reaffirms the right of all the people to get high standard of health. So India is a signatory to the convention, so that is why it is important. Okay, and Global Tobacco and Nicotine Forum, that is another thing in the same field. So this is world's leading annual forum that discuss about the future of tobacco and the nicotine industries. Okay. So the next topic is side pocketing. This is in news because the UTI Credit Risk Fund and the Reliance Ultra Short Duration Fund, they announce their intent to side pocket bonds issued by Altico Capital after it was rated default agency or default grade by an agency. So what is side pocket? We are not concerned about what is there in the news. That is not our issue. We should know what side pocket is. This can be directly asked by UPSC as a definition. Okay, so side pocket is basically a type of account. That account is being used in hedge fund to actually differentiate the illiquid assets from more liquid investments. So you can actually, differentiate between the highly liquid assets and the illiquid assets. So this is under the aegis of SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. It introduced side pocketing framework. So this will actually put a lot of pressure on the net asset value of the most debt fund that owned shares in various portfolios. Okay, so once an investment enters the side pocket account, only the current participants in the hedge fund are entitled to take a share of it. All the existing investors in the scheme are allotted equal number of units in the portfolio as held in the main portfolio, and no redemption or subscription is allowed in the segregated portfolio. So the future investors will not receive a share of proceeds if the assets return become realized. Okay, so the SEBI rules allow debt fund to side pocket only those bonds that are downgraded below the investment grade by the rating rating agencies. So when a bond it is rated BBB or above is pegged down, so it turns from an investment grade bond to a non-investment grade one. So fund houses are required to decide on the side pocketing and secure the approval of these trustees for it on the day the downgrade happens. So that is how a side pocketing works. So what is the benefit of side pocketing? One thing is holding the illiquid assets in the standard hedge fund portfolio. It can cause a great deal of complexity when the investors wish to take distribution or leave the fund altogether. If the risky assets are separated in a different account, that will be very easier for them. So putting this side pocket funds off limit, that will help us to reduce too many early exits from the hedge fund. That is another thing. Now we'll come to current affairs capsule. This is a small news. It's talking about acupuncture. So acupuncture is a form of treatment that involves inserting of thin needles to the person's skin at specific point in a limited or a various depth. So research suggests that it can relieve pain. It is used for a wide range of other diseases also. So this is a very effective method. That is what has been researchers saying about acupuncture. So I just want you to know what acupuncture is. Okay. In map aided program, we are doing with Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. So Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, it was established as Savai Madhopur Game Sanctuary. It was a hunting ground of the kings, and it was established in 1955 by Government of India, and later in 1973 it was declared as the Tiger Reserve. So it lies in the edge of a plateau, and the north region is being bordered by Banas River. The south region is being bordered by Champal River. So there is this Ranthambore Forts. It is within the park. It's very famous also. It's very historic. And there was recently a program of relocation of tigers. So one tiger called Dhara was taken from Ranthambore to Zariska. It was airlifted. Okay, it's very famous thing. So it was airlifted in a Mi-17 helicopter. And I have attached a map also. You might be very familiar about this map of Rajasthan, because it's very common map. I have underlined Ranthambore National Park also. So take a look at it. And coming to today's prelims question, this is a history question I am dealing with reference to British colonial rule in India. Consider the following statement. Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition of system of indentured labor. In Lord Chelmsford War Conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. Consequent upon the breaking of salt law by Indian people, Indian National Congress was declared illegal by colonial rulers. So, I want you guys to answer this question in the comment section, and I'll give you the answer tomorrow in my session, in the evening session. So, we'll try to cover all the history question, all the previous year history question very soon. Okay, so please answer this question today itself. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you understood some of the concepts that I told you. So if you have any doubts, let me know. I'll clear your doubts in the comment section. No worries. So thank you so much. Good night.